So if you've ever felt kind of trapped in that whole cycle of dieting, counting every calorie and then feeling guilty about food, this is for you. We're going to explore a completely different way of eating, one that's more present, way more satisfying, and actually sustainable. Let's dive in.
Okay, let me ask you something. Picture this. You just finished lunch. You look down, the plate's empty, and you have almost no memory of what it tasted like. You don't remember the texture or even the feeling of eating it. Sound familiar at all?
If you're nodding right now, I promise you, you are so not alone. This is the perfect example of what we call mindless eating. It's a habit that so many of us fall into, especially in this crazy, fast-paced world we live in.
So let's actually break down what this autopilot meal looks like. Because, just being able to spot it is the very first step to changing things.
It's kind of wild how normal these things have become, right? Eating while you're scrolling on your phone, or standing up at the kitchen counter, or just rushing to your next meeting. The thing is, we're putting the food in our bodies, but we're not actually experiencing it. And what's the result? Well, we usually eat way more than we need to, and we're left feeling kind of guilty instead of nourished.
But what if there was a better way? Well, there is. And it's this really powerful practice that can totally shift our entire relationship with food. And that brings us to the mindful alternative.
First things first, mindful eating is not a diet. There are no lists of good foods and bad foods. Nope. It's a practice. It's all about paying full attention, without any judgment, to the entire experience of eating, from the moment you see your food to that feeling of fullness when you're done.
And this slide just lays out the difference perfectly. See, diets are all about external rules, right? Counting calories, following some rigid plan. But mindfulness? That's all about tuning into your internal signals. It's a huge shift from following a rulebook to actually trusting your own body's wisdom.
Okay, so why even bother with this shift? I mean, what's the real payoff for just being more present with our food? Well, the benefits are actually pretty huge, and they go way beyond just what's on your dinner plate. So for starters, just by paying a little more attention, you start to notice this really important difference. The difference between emotional head hunger, that craving that hits when you're bored or stressed, and actual physical stomach hunger. And just having that little bit of awareness naturally helps you eat less. There's no struggle, no restrictive diet. It just happens.
All right, the second big benefit is all about biology. See, when we're rushing around, our body is in fight or flight mode, which, it turns out, is absolutely terrible for digestion. But when you slow down, you activate your body's rest and digest system. That means your body can finally do its job the right way and absorb all those nutrients way more effectively.
Number 3. This one tackles the massive issue of emotional eating. It works by creating a little gap, like a pause, between feeling stressed and instantly reaching for a snack.
And in that pause, you suddenly have a choice. You can ask yourself, wait, am I really hungry or do I just need to take a walk? This simple act gives you the power to break that automatic cycle. And finally, benefit number 4. This one might just be the most enjoyable of them all. When you really give your full attention to your food, everything just gets turned up to 11. The flavors, the smells, the textures. Seriously, a small meal that you eat mindfully can be so much more satisfying than a giant one you barely even noticed. It really turns eating from just another task into a real source of pleasure again.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually do it? Let's get practical and break it down into some super simple, easy steps you can start with today.
Look, if you only do one thing, make it this one. Seriously, make your meal time unplug time. Turn off the TV, put your phone somewhere you can't reach it, and just sit down at a table. This single change creates the space for everything else to happen. It is the absolute foundation.
Now, here are 4 brilliant little tricks to help you slow your pace. Number 2, putting your fork down between bites. I know it sounds kind of weird, but trust me, it's a total game changer. And number 4, pausing halfway through your meal to just ask, hey, am I still hungry? That gives your brain the time it needs to catch up and register fullness.
Here's something to try before you even take your first bite. Do a little check-in. Really look at your food. Smell it. And then, when you eat, notice the texture. Listen to the sound it makes. Engaging all 5 senses like this immediately pulls you into the present moment. And to really understand what this all feels like, you've got to try the classic mindful raisin exercise. Just take
one single raisin, or, a piece of chocolate, whatever, and give it your complete, undivided attention for a few minutes. It's such a powerful way to realize how much we normally miss out on.
All right, as we start to wrap up here, there is one last really crucial point I want you to remember. This is not about being perfect.
The goal is not to become a perfect mindful eater 100% of the time. That's not realistic. This is a practice. It's about slowly shifting that relationship you have with food, moving it away from struggle and more towards nourishment, presence, and real pleasure. Some days are going to be easier than others, and that is totally okay.
So I'll leave you with this question. This doesn't have to be some massive life overhaul, not at all. Maybe you'll just put your phone away for your next meal. Or maybe you'll just try putting your fork down between a few bites. What is one small thing you'll try to do?